Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vin Stone, joined every week by Jill Bryant, everybody in chat over here on YouTube at, where Jill?
At LINWDW.
Correctamundo.
LWDW.
Absolutely, positively, when you want to watch us live, come to it, 3 p.m. over here on YouTube. It was buffering for a minute, like right at the beginning of the stream, but like it seems like it's sorted itself out. Always like to hang out, before the show, after the show. Might be a fun time. What are we talking about today? Well, I'm talking about Jellyfin's RISC V, and Jill's going to tell you about bridging that gap between Wayland and X and Linux counting to 5.
Yeah.
First time Linux is counting to 5. That's growing up, man. It's good. That penguin's going to have to get a second hand grafted to it. You ever seen a penguin with fingers? It's terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
But we're looking forward to it. What's up? What's new? Man, I've been writing back a lot of people. Got a lot of attention on the, I did the ARM system last week with effects and made a little video about it. Had about, like 14,000 people show up to that. Got about 100 comments. Over there on YouTube, people asking a bunch of questions, getting interested in Linux, ARM, effects, emulation. Love to see it. Bunch of great questions on that video. Really happy people heading over to the site. Got picked up by, I think Hackaday did a little bit of a story on it. And I'm like, that's cool, man. More people playing around with stuff. And somebody that you know, Jill, what's his name? Hazy.
JayzTwoCents.
Hazy Money Man. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, he lives literally like less than an hour from me.
All right. He did a video on Bazzite.
Yeah.
Now that's the safe one to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you get the Bazzite. The Bazzite's got the fan club, and they'll show up. Like when I did the Steam OS, Steam brick that I built. Mm-hmm. The Bazzite people still showed up, Joe. They're like, hey,
that's right.
Put some Bazzite on it. And I'm like, but this is about Steam OS. I mean, it's good that he did that. I didn't get a chance to like watch, it's Bazzite, set it up, play some games on it. Love to see it. Speaking of games, you've been playing around in the old summer sale time, haven't you?
Yeah, I sure have. I was last week too, but this has just been a really good Steam summer sale for me. So I picked up Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart, and that's the first time a Ratchet and Clank game have been on Steam. And it was 50% off at $29.99 and well worth it. It's really definitely an action adventure. It keeps you moving, but it's really exciting, and it's a fun game, and the characters are really cute too. But the visuals are spectacular. It's one of the nicest looking games. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that was like one of those games that were really showing off on the PS5.
Oh yeah,
when that came out, they're like, "Oh, look at the no load times and stuff like that." So it looks dope at 50% off at $30. I'm like, I can wait. I've turned into a patient gamer. I'm like, we'll wait for 75 and I'll pick it up. But yeah, definitely a good title. What else you pick up?
Oh gosh, I also picked up Avatar. It's a little Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. And it's a little older game. But it's 70% off at $20.99. And the funny thing is I think I like the story better than I did in the movie. So I've played about 2 hours of it, and I've really enjoyed it. And the visuals are spectacular in that game.
I hear there's a problem, though.
Yeah, people said they have had problems, and I'm forgetting what that was because I didn't.
We'll just finish reading your show notes.
Oh, that, yes. Well, I'm used to dealing with it. It uses the annoying Ubisoft Connect. And so you have to have Ubisoft Connect launched before you can launch the game.
Now, this is a sign of progress, though, because Proton has gotten to the state. We need to give a little shout out to Valve that they've enabled Proton by default.
Yes.
On Steam.
Exactly.
So they're very confident that's sending a signal to developers. They're like, just release the game. We got you. don't worry about it. But the Ubisoft Connect used to be a complete showstopper. You're like, well, that's not going to work at all. Then it got to the, maybe it'll load.
Yeah.
This week?
Maybe it'll load.
Who knows? And now we're at the point of just like a general, we're like Windows users. We're just annoyed that we got to wait for another launcher to just come on. I just want to play the game. No, great. Now I got to get this other screen I got to click on to want to play the game, man.
I know. Well, the thing is that it still was problematic even with Avatar because you still have to link it with the
Ubisoft account.
Yeah, the Ubisoft account, and then but you have to link the game to the your Proton instance of where Ubisoft was connected, and that's not a big deal. I mean, I have done it before, but the game that actually did this beautifully with Ubisoft Connect was the latest Star Wars game. That one, I didn't even have to have Ubisoft Connect loaded. It just, you used your Ubisoft Connect account and it automatically put it in your Ubisoft Connect. So that one was easy, but Avatar is a little more tricky. But it's still a whole lot easier than it was even when, remember, Ven, we hooked Trackmania, the newer Trackmania to Ubisoft. And that was a little pain in the butt.
It uses the launcher. I mean, fortunately, Trackmania... the new one will use your Steam account. Yeah. So you don't have to like set up, but I mean, you can add like, it's so fussy. Like nothing makes me not, when I want to play a game, especially being time limited of like, okay, I got like 10, 15 minutes to like play a game. You can't use up 3 to 5 of those minutes. Like waiting for your launcher to update and then getting it loaded. And I'm like, no, I need to be able to pop in and pop out. So it's good. The Frontiers of Pandora, I was excited about way back in the day when they first announced it. Then I saw that it was first person. I'm like, I like the third person games now. I used to be first person all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I like both. So
I mean, I can deal with both, but like given an option, I wanted to see my little blue kitty cat person run around.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, it is amazing the state of gaming now on Linux that you can use all these third party launchers, and most of the time don't have any problems.
Dude, it's so easy. Even a Windows YouTuber can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a compliment. Don't take that the wrong way. All right. More and more people are playing around with Linux, and Jill's got some news for you.
Yeah. So this is really exciting news. As of June 2025, Linux has officially surpassed 5% desktop market share in the USA, reaching 5.03% according to StatCounter Global Stats. This is a huge achievement for Linux and the open source community, especially since last year we hit 4% in February here in the United States. So in just over a year, we hit 5.03%. And, those of us who are in the Linux sphere know there are many reasons for this, including Windows 10 impending doom, not wanting to upgrade hardware just for Windows 11, the Windows privacy invasion, adware, and forced updates. So yes, lots of Windows negativity and movement over to Linux because of that. And Linux is just more user-friendly than ever and easy to install. Privacy and security is a high priority on Linux. And it keeps older hardware out of the landfill. And the software ecosystem keeps growing and growing on a daily basis. And the Steam Deck and Proton is a game changer. So that's really brought a lot of people over into the Linux world. And I have noticed so many new Linux users in the last few months watching and listening to LWDW and making comments on the social media. So that has been really awesome. And thank you also to the great video that PewDiePie did and continues to do to promote Linux. And JayzTwoCents.
All these Windows, but this is what people really want. And I said this
tubers. Yeah.
A decade ago, because there's been so many people that have like tried to start out over the years. They wanted to like start like a Linux channel, and like, a couple of people have powered through it. But like every time somebody starts out, like, hey, I'm covering Linux, especially Reddit, y'all guilty of this. You're like, oh, whatever. Just because what they secretly want is they want their YouTuber waifu, be it JayzTwoCents or PewDiePie or whatever. They want them to cover Linux, or Linus, Linus, not this Linus. not this one, the squeaky one.
Yeah.
To do it. And they're like, yay. And so, yeah, more and more people are showing up to the party, which is great.
Wonderful.
And, you know, I had the graph open. We're trying to look at some real numbers here. So we got OS X. This is our main competitor, right? You're going down, Mac, on the desktop. 16.5%. Okay, you know, that's not too bad. Then we got Mac OS down here at 7.72. All right, not too bad. The unknown. We beat it, Jill. Whoever you unknown, the unknown OS, only 4.77%. You can't keep up with the big ones. You can't deal with it.
Yeah. That's sweet.
What about Chrome OS? Oh, yeah, we're crushing Chrome OS. Chrome OS is only 2.69.
And that was a big deal because even as of like last year and a half ago, Chrome OS was higher. So, you know.
Couple of things
Yay.
Could have led to this. You know, like I said, take that unknown, and to the lesser extent, Chrome OS. I still think Chrome OS is a great operating system for people who just want a thing that does a web browser, basically.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're up 3-ish% from last year, you know, and I'm willing to bet, like, this bump is a mixture of not one, but two things, and they're both related to gaming. I know, strangely. So the big one, the obvious one, old Decky D, right?
Yeah.
The Steam Deck's been out for a while. The numbers are all over the place, but it seems like the agreed upon guesswork for how many's actually been bought, not made, but purchased is coming up on 4 million, you know, 3.7 million-ish units worldwide as of 2024. So there's probably more out there. And something we talked about earlier, people installing things like Bazzite and Steam OS and the like to build like their own little, you know, geek decks and bricks. And they're like, hey, this stuff seems like it's going to work. Why? Because it's a better experience than a full-blown Windows installation when you just want a gaming console. How strange is that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're like, what are you doing? You're running Windows? You know, you want to play some games on that, put Linux on it. That's a weird thing to think about.
Yeah.
You've been around for a while, man. So, yeah, crazy times, wild times. Love to see it. All this is going to be in our show notes if you want to hover over the bar graph and be like 5%. Because, like, it might not seem like much. And it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes down because, Jill, everybody at home, we're a dying breed. We are. Don't let anybody gaslight you. Like, desktop users, and it's easy to do. Because like we have our tech bubble that we all hang out, all of our tech friends. Open the door. You don't have to leave the tech bubble, but just poke your head out and look around your friends and family. How many of them have a desktop PC still? Not many. They might have a laptop, but more likely they might have a tablet and, you know, their mobile phone, right? That's more computer than most people genuinely need. Let's be honest. So it's going to be interesting to see how these numbers shake down at the end of the day. As the years roll on, are people still going to be using Windows or the unknown OS? Or maybe we'll get a brand new operating system we can get behind. It just comes out of nowhere. Who knows?
Never know.
Love to see it. So on Linux, you got 2 display servers or protocols, like depending on how like into the weeds you want to get. X11, and you got Wayland. Wayland's the new kid on the block. It's about 15 or 16 years old. And it's getting there, man. It's getting there. X has been around since before time, you know, like they find it in like archaeological surveys. They're like, oh, yep, okay, that's X11. There still some compatibility issues. You know, we got X Wayland, which helps and works most of the time, but there's still like some little bits and bobs that are having problems making that transition. And Jill's got a little bit of a solution, or at least a step, maybe I don't even want to say the right direction, but in a direction, which is good because somebody's like, you know what, I need to fix this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, with so many Linux distros moving away from the Xorg display server to Wayland, there are bound to be new alternatives for running X11 applications and desktops. And Wayback is one of those alternatives and looks quite promising. And yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Wayback machine, Ven. When I saw the name, I'm like,
yeah, Wayback, what?
Yeah. So Wayback is an experimental Wayland compositor that supports X Wayland, allowing X apps to run on Wayland without a full X server. And it is designed to bridge the gap between X desktops and Wayland. So that's why it has the name Wayback. And it allows X11 applications and desktop environments like XFCE I'm running now or Cinnamon to run on Wayland by hosting a rootful X Wayland instance. Ariadne Connell, one of the original developers behind Alpine Linux, is leading Wayback. And Wayback aims to replace Xorg in Alpine Linux and maintain compatibility with classic X desktops like XFCE, Cinnamon, LXDE, and FVWM, and several of my favorites, Fluxbox, XFCE, ICE Window Manager, Blackbox, Enlightenment, TWM, and just about every other X window manager I use during LWDW. And it has the potential, Wayback has the potential for broader adoption as a safety valve for users like me who still rely on classic desktops. And currently, Wayback is still in the experimental phase, so expect some bugs, but they are encouraging users to contribute fixes via pull request on their GitHub repository, which is linked in our LWW show notes. So if you would like to go and compile
You're talking about bugs.
Yeah.
Bugs. Let me
Everything's going to have bugs if it's an alpha,
that's putting the polish on the actual verbiage used as breaking changes.
Yes. Yes.
That's code, everybody. When you're at a GitHub repo or you're at a GitLab repo and they're like, expect breaking changes. What does that mean? That means it could not work tomorrow. And all of the work that you did to get everything set up on doesn't work. And that's a good thing. That means that there's a lot of iteration taking place. You know, like this is the early days. We're still trying to figure out. So don't get locked into it as a, permanent solution just yet. But what you can do is go test, like Jill said, and report bugs with the issue tracker over on GitLab. Try it out. See what applications, what problems that you have are possibly getting solved by this. Now, I have a list of applications and little tools, and that's what people have said about Wayland, death by 1,000 cuts. There's all these little side applications that are like, this has got to get fixed so I can switch to Wayland. Hi, I'm over here in that camp, legitimately. Like, I do have that list. I've talked about them ad nauseum on the show. And they're not little things. They're like game-breaking stuff for the stuff I do, which I'm not worried about because X11 at its current state works, which is another thing. Now, you know what? I was... I wanted to play around with Wayland. Jill's on Wayland right now, even on this box back in the studio. Why? Because it's an ARM system, and you want hardware acceleration on ARM, you better be using Wayland. It's a daunting task to get it set up under X11. I wanted to play around with HDR. I needed to test a thing. Yeah. You can't do that under X11. So I had to get GNOME set up, because I was like, this was another issue. I forgot. The only HDR display I have is this ginormous 43-inch monitor in front of me.
Oh, the one that I had too.
Yeah. The one I got forever ago, and I had to go flip it around, and I was like, how do I cut this on? I'm like, and I figured it out. And it worked. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Neat. That was this is about as far as I got with it. I'm like, okay, it works. Cool. But if you want HDR and there's a bunch of cool things that Wayland can do. And I'm still waiting for Player 3 though, man. I want something just to come out of blue, like another Linux distribution, right? That's not Linux. And just come in and solve everybody's problem. Who knows?
Maybe a new version of Minix?
Minix or but I think about everybody. What's the state of Wayland on BSD right now?
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm sure somebody out there is listening, wants to play around with it. My big hang up right now, I was talking to Jill about it, is my KVM over IP software.
Yeah.
Technically functions as long as I have a keyboard and or mouse plugged into that machine, which completely defeats the purpose of being able to use it. Because it has like a, portal session is like something would like to connect. And I'm like, yeah, that's me trying to use it. Let me click OK. And it's good. But it comes up the next time you try to connect. I'm like, no, because now I got to have this keyboard plugged in. So I don't even bother using the software. Why? Because I got a keyboard plugged in. Like, it'd be silly. It seems like another way. So go check out Wayback. Maybe it's going to be the thing that heals the gap, fills in the bridge. And everything's going to be super cool after that. Now, Jill, I want to talk about RISC V.
Risky business.
Man, okay. Hang on. You think I was joking about like Bazzite showing up in that SteamOS video I did on interfacing Linux, man? The RISC V people come out in force when I did the Orion 06. I was like, why didn't you do this on RISC V? Huh? Very accusatory. Like, what's your problem? You obviously should have done this on RISC V. I'm like, I don't write them back. But if you have a RISC V board, things might get a little weird, especially if you got one running the old Ubuntu's. Yeah, so if you're planning on upgrading your RISC V device to Ubuntu 25.10, it ain't going to work. Nope. I know it's not going to work. Ubuntu, Canonical, they know it's not going to work. Why? Because most of your RISC V boards, and I mean all of them right now, have old or no vector instructions at all, not even a little bit. Even the framework dev kit, remember talking about that? This is going to be affected by it too.
Yeah.
To be compatible with 2510, your new RISC V CPUs, SoCs, they're going to need 1.0 vector instructions and a hypervisor, aka RVA23, aka RVA23U64, if you really want to get really technical. And that's kind of wild. Why is that kind of wild? Well, let me tell you. There are no RVA23 machines in the market right now.
Yeah,
this spec's only a couple of months old. I'm like, wow, that's bold strategy, which I'm not completely against. So that means, unfortunately, this is my RISC V board. This is the RV2. Go check out my review of it on Interfacing Linux. This is not going to be able to work with Ubuntu 25.10. Even though Ubuntu has this is like 4-month-old piece of hardware, and Ubuntu just recently released an official version of Ubuntu for this board. Can't upgrade it. Stuck. There's nothing to be done. Nothing you can do about it. So I'm thinking, setting the requirement for RVA 22 might be a better choice, might be a better solution. But I think I also understand the intent. They're just trying to get ahead of the game right here because, there's not a lot of like radically expensive RISC V hardware. And you'll still be able to use old Ubuntu for this. So, right, like a long-term version?
Yeah, Ubuntu 24.04 LTS is supposed to be supported until 2029. So your older RISC hardware will work on that, RISC V.
That's good.
Yeah.
You'll be good to go. You're just going to be running the latest and greatest. You'll get your security updates and you'll be able to play around. Or you can, use Arch, Debian, or all the other distributions that will support this. What Canonical's going for here is getting ahead of the game, saying, we want the new vector extensions, we want the hypervisor support. And if you want to run on Ubuntu, which a lot of these companies do, because a lot of these companies, this Orange Pi was the RV2 was a kind of a good deal because it had most of the stuff. It had the vectors. It wasn't completely there. And that's where all of these boards are. They're all over the map with like what they do and do not support. And well, that's unfortunate. But Canonical's like, here's the new line. Here's the new bar. If you're a single board manufacturer, I don't care if you're Milk V, Orange Pi, Banana Pi, if you want Ubuntu to run, this is what you need the SoC to support. And I think that's a good line in the sand because I think the next generation will start seeing, all the extra bits that we need to really get the ball rolling. So this is a net positive for RISC V. And like the older stuff's still going to run on these. And this is only going to affect Ubuntu for now. But you do want all the new stuff. And again, these boards are generally like low cost. This thing's like $40, dude. It's so cool for $40 to play around with. Orange milk duck. See, non-dairy pie. There you go. See?
There you go.
The jokes. What do you think about this? I mean, with the LTS support, I think we got. How long is that going to last? How much LTS support we got, Jill? Like 3 or 4 more weeks before it runs out?
2029. so yeah, it's supported until 2029 with Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. But I think this is also a good thing, Ven, because like you were saying, it makes the RISC V developers set a standard so that Ubuntu will fully work on their boards. I mean, that just makes sense because there has been so much fragmentation among all the single board computer boards regarding RISC V. So
yeah,
like,
you never really know what you're gonna get. Like everybody's got like their own thing, and so I like having a standard that I think a lot of people are gonna be like, okay, we would like it to work with Ubuntu.
Yeah,
is a good thing. It's a great thing. So there we go. Now, this next one, I had to sneak it in right there at the end because I just finished it up last night. Didn't plan on doing it. Had other stuff I needed to get done, but a side quest is a side quest. And once you take that first step, it's too late. Wow. This is going to hit different for a lot of you old heads out there who grew up with like building, Myth TV boxes, and we had Plex boxes forever. I'm talking about Jellyfin.
Nice.
We've talked about Jellyfin on this show, right? It's the Plex alternative. Now, there's multiple like home theater PC, for your movies, your shows, music, watching live stuff, also your books and your photos. And it's not just the old like Myth TV box that you had in front of your CRT back in the day. There's apps for Android, iOS, Kodi. Plug it in, watch anywhere. Just out of left field, in the back of my head, I was like, man, you know what? I wonder if I get this running on this guy. Remember that? This is my Orange 5 Plus. Orange Pi 5 Plus. It's in its case. Really nice case, by the way. Orange Pi, I swear I'm going to review this one day instead of keep doing random projects with it. It's shown up in a lot of interfacing Linux videos. Why? Because it's really good. So I wanted to know if it could do not just hardware acceleration. This thing's got an octa-core Rockchip 3588 in it. And I'm like, it can probably do hardware acceleration, in the state that Mesa's and Calabra's working with that stack. And like I plugged it in. That was basically out of the box. There's not much to it. Then I got looking around. And I'm like, okay, what about HDR? And this is where the HDR comes into the story. More importantly, I wanted to know if the Orange Pi Plus could do hardware accelerated HDR to SDR tone mapping. That's a bunch of nonsense words you just said, Ben. I'm like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Let me tell you what that is. HDR content, right? Where the lights are light and the darks are darks and it looks all HDR-ish, right?
Yeah.
Well, you might be like me and you have exactly one HDR display in your house and you want to watch your HDR content that you have on your media center, on your tablet, remote, or on that plasma TV that might be in your living room from like 1346. Well, if you try to play that content just straight up, it's going to look washed out and blown out. It's not going to look right. You're like, oh, so you got to convert that color. I want to say color space, color bits over, and that is computationally heavy, man. Especially if you're trying to do it in real time. So much so that you got to bring OpenCL, which is, the alternative to CUDA, into the equation. And getting CUDA up and running ain't going to happen because it's a Rockchip. It's not NVIDIA, but OpenCL is an option. So getting a compute stack set up on a Rockchip 3588 in order to do this tone mapping in real time, I found a bunch of forum threads where people started to play around with it. They couldn't get it to work. Then I found the official guide on the Jellyfin documentation. It was extremely verbose with a bunch of extra steps that are like, why are you telling people to do all that? And then they didn't land it because at the end they forgot the last little critical bit that made the entire thing work. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of impressive. So what I did is I made a little post just last night because I was like, so I loathe incomplete documentation. It gets me motivated to correct that because I know somebody else was like going to spend their time putting this together. So I basically just walk you through getting Jellyfin set up on a basically anything powered by a Rockchip 3588 and how to get the OpenCL bits, put together so you can do all of this fancy stuff. Like it's got hardware accelerated decoding for 264 HEVC, all of your MPEGs, VP8, VP9, AV1, and HEVC 10-bit and VP9 10-bit. And it also does a 265 encoding. And just proof to the pudding, this is your basic transcode. And you're like, well, that's a little ARM CPU. This is just generally transcoding. Let's say I got a 4K movie, which this is 4K Big Buck Bunny. I got to play that, right?
Yes.
You got to do that. I'm converting this down to a 540p 6 megabit stream, and it's doing it at 284 FPS. It's not barely registering because it's using hardware acceleration, which is great. But what I really wanted was this HDR. This is me playing HDR content on a non-HDR display. And again, it's 4K 2160p, and it's running through, this is a 50 megabit stream. This is not a little video, people. HDR 10, and it's chewing through it, and it's doing it at about 84 FPS. And it's still
sweet.
Yeah, there's unlike CUDA, there's no limitation to how many of these streams this thing can do. And you look at it, it's like maybe using like 25% of the overall ability of the Rockchip 3588. So you could have a couple of these going on, and it wouldn't blink. So I was really happy that I got to pull this off, and it's something you can do at home. And I'm debating on whether or not I want to do a video on it, because these are going to run you about $100 once you get the case and all that. But there's no moving parts in this show.
Sweet.
None. It's quiet. It's ARM. It's low power. You never even know it's there. And it's small. You could lose it. And I like things you can lose in an entertainment center. And it's real heavy, too, in case of home invasion. Throw it at somebody. Yeah. So there you go. There's the post. It'll be down in the show notes, or just head over to interfacinglinux.com if you are ARM curious, because ARM's crazy powerful these days. You might not know about it. And it's really cheap, especially, if you got a 3588 powered system laying around. I'll show you some cool stuff you can do with it, and making a home theater PC. Now, I don't know. This one's kind of interesting because it's got the eMMC module on it, plus it's got NVMe.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So you could use the NVMe drive, just throw a big chunker in there, and be good with that, and use the eMMC for boot. Or you could plug, it's got a bunch of USB 3s on it. That might also be an option. It's got dual Ether noodles on the back, and Wi-Fi. I've already pulled the Wi-Fi antennas off of it. I got tired of playing around with them. So it's a good alternative to Plex. Go check it out. It's a fun read, and things to play around with if you're into hosting at home. There we go.
It is amazing when you think about it, Vin, that you can use a little inexpensive ARM device to be your media server.
And we're not talking about just like barely, like back in the day, we would get something really running and you were like, it would be screaming and melting a little bit, making funny smells. And you're like, but it's doing it kind of like it's almost there. Like this thing's not even breaking a sweat. It was like, I can do that like 6 more times.
Yeah.
So what Jill's saying, it is amazing where we're at, because these are like legitimate, like low power, low cost solutions. And then again, I know you listen to me a lot. You're like, well, what about an N100, Vin? It's going to be about the same price. No moving parts, people. No moving parts. I'm a huge fan of something that can be passively cooled. This is where the big honking advantage. Oh, so yeah, by the way, this one's got a built-in IR thing. So if you want to throw a remote at it, there you go. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's going to wrap us up for this week's Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. Come check us out over at YouTube at LWDW. You can find us on linuxgamecast.com. There's a link in the video description to all the stuff that we get up to, like our Patreon. If you want to come chat with us in our super secret Discord, it's the Linux Gamecast LWDW, like amalgam Akira thing, because I just stuck everything under one thing. So if you become a patron, you get access to just a gang of bonus things for supporting the show. There's also a little tip jar down there. Come hop into our Discord. We'd love to see you, love to chat with you. And, if you get any tech questions, Interfacing Linux Discord, if you can find it, I'm not going to tell you where it's at. Forums for your tech stuff, and access to just like a bunch of stuff like the live and uncut version of the show. If you're listening, in your podcatcher. We got a custom RSS feed just for you, just the full ride. You can't make I like listening to stuff live. You know, I've always been a fan of live albums. I like doing the shows live in front of people, and I like listening to the live thing. So we put that in a podcast for you to listen to from beginning, middle to end. So you don't have to worry about like watching or digging up the YouTube. We also give you the YouTube version, video version to you for you to peruse. We got wish lists, all that stuff under the support thing. We appreciate it. Even if you just share the show, just show up and watch live. Maybe give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and all the fun things that are involved. There we go. We're done showing. Also, no ads. Haha. Oh yeah, Patreon. You get a custom video version with better audio, better video. You can download it. You don't have to worry about YouTube. I didn't know anybody was watching that because I don't have any metrics on that until we started running out of storage, and I didn't post it for like 2 weeks. And people were like, "Hey, where's my YouTube video?" I'm like, "Okay, give me a minute." And I had to go delete some old stuff. So yeah, there you go. Here we go. Time to get the bouncy music in. And let's roll those credits.
Woohoo! And I'd like to thank our patrons, including our advisor, Artherin, our executive producers, Barbrand, Scott, Atomic, 12345, Drummer 7, our Chicago Kicks Mules level, Glorious Agril, Basil, Empty, our Sea Monsters, Truggy, Mike, DeCresney, our Death Notes, Oil of Hope, Zeno, Nova, Chad, Romeo, our Chairlings, Mr. Alert, Mere PPC, Door to Door Geek, etc., etc., etc.,
etc. All the etceteras.
Yeah.
Be an eccentric. Come hang out with me. I'll be back on. Jordan's actually taking a actual vacation finally, so I don't think they're going to be. He might not be able to resist playing some Baldur's Gate 3 tomorrow night. Who knows? But over on twitch.tv/Linux Gamecast, I'll be back for Rounds in RPG on Friday, 7:30 p.m. for TM2 Crew. Come check us out over at TM2 Crew on YouTube if you want to get on that. Yeah, if you're like a patron, you can like, hey, I want to come. Scott was talking smack in our Discord. Scott's the map breaker. He's the disassembler. He comes in because we track all the runs. You know, if you're getting older, you're like, I need to keep my hand-eye coordination and my brain meats kicking. Great way to do it. Love to see it. See you there. Back live. Bye-bye, everyone.
Yay.
Disengage big red button in 3, 2.